Morning, guys. I have an update on the Hobonichi Cousin planner because I went ahead and ordered the cover. Initially, I didn't think I was going to need the cover, but because I bring this with me and throw it in and out of my purse and leave it different places, you can see I dropped it. And I bent a corner and a couple pages, and also on the back. I must have done it on the back. I must have done it twice. So I'm gonna say for me, this cover is necessary. I added some pockets and different things so it would be easier to carry some stuff with me because it's not a ring binder. These are Avery pockets with removable glue and a flap. So I have some coupons in here, but normally the things I carry are 2 pens. And I think for somebody who takes this around and carries it with them all the time, you really do need a cover. I thought it was going to be something I could get if I wanted, and I think that if I had the kind of planner I left on a desk, it would be fine, but that's what I've done to it in a week. So in a year it's going to be pretty well trashed if I don't get a cover. So I went ahead and ordered it, and the cover I got was, I think it was $28, and then they have a cover for the cover, which was only a couple dollars. I got that, and with the EMS shipping, I think it came to $42 US, and that was a lower priced non-leather cover. So you're doubling the price of the planner. But if you bring it around like I do, I think it's going to be sorry about that, going to be something necessary. These little pockets are part of Midori's line. They're not sturdy like the pockets that you put on the side of the leather. I would never put a credit card in them because they lift and they're not secure on the top, but I do have stamps in there. For me, they're the least successful of the Traveler's Notebook inserts, but if you wanted to stick something like this on the cover, maybe close off the top, you could put a picture in it. They're very thin. Just some thoughts on that. This is actually something, it's a card my son got me. It's so funny to me. It's a vintage image of Velveeta cheese. I don't know if you're not in the US if you would know what that is, but it says Living Velveeta Loca. And these are my translucent tabs from that I ordered from Japan. They are really great. They don't as of yet anyway, seem to crackle and peel the way the ones I've gotten in the United States has, and each color comes with an individual its own little sticky pocket, so you can stick it to something else. Definitely more expensive than the ones in the dollar bin, but they don't aggravate me. They work the way they're supposed to. So this is the monthly spread. Starts on Monday. I like it. It's great. I like that it has the graph. I haven't done, the same kind of consistent drawing on it that I did in my Filofax because I can do the drawing easier in the planner. But the layout is Monday to Sunday. The squares are nice and big. The pages themselves are the same size as Filofax, A5 pages, but without the intrusion of the rings. So you actually end up with more writing space with a smaller overall footprint. These are the weekly pages, and for those of you who didn't like Filofax's vertical week on a page, you probably won't like these either. I was one of the people that liked them. Especially, I mean, it's worth giving that a try since you have a day per page and you have a lot of room for information in other places. You also have one blank column here for any notes or a weekly to-do list, you know, anything you want to put here. And I'm using it the same way I used the week on 2 pages in the Filofax, basically, which is just listing specific things I have to do that week, including timed appointments. And in this blank column, I'm using DIY Fish's yearly chart to track habits. And so I put all of the habits with as many times as I want to do it per week in this blank column. And I'll show you the chart in here. Here's another week. And I've used this for, you know, basically practice. I really like the Japanese and Chinese brush paintings, and these pens are from Jet Pens. I'll put a link at the bottom. They are really fabulous. I just ordered, this is the spring colors. I just ordered the summer colors also. This is DIY Fish's, I can't remember if I ordered the A5 or the A4. I actually think I ordered the A4 size. It's the yearly chart, and all I did was tape it down on this side and in the middle. And that's how I'm tracking my habits with Zen bangles, because I think they're really pretty. So I have my habits down here, and as I add 1 or 2 more at a time only, I mark with a little dot so I don't lose my place, and then when I've completed it, I have some kind of design every week. And these two I did not do all week, and I find looking at that kind of discouraging, but I decided that, you know, when I get into an all or nothing frame of mind, like either I do it all right or I quit, I get into a lot of trouble and I tend to quit. So I'm going to continue to use the blank areas to show that I didn't complete everything I wanted to do, but I'm still doing it. Okay, now when I started this on the 5th, I was writing in a Pilot Juice pen, and recently changed because I did a pen test, and as you can see, so this is the Pilot Juice, this is the Friction 0.7. The colors are very similar in tone. The Friction pen is a warmer gray, but they're similar. But when you look at the pen test, I actually have an image of this. If I can insert it, I will. This is the drying time of the Pilot Juice pen, which is really long. It runs even after 5 minutes, and it seems to be very dependent on how much ink you're laying down. So the one at 5 minutes actually looks like it ran even more, but I think that's probably because I laid more ink down, but it felt tacky to me, way longer than I could even believe. The friction, on the other hand, had a little bit of, when I dragged my finger across it, you could see it a little bit, but nothing at all moved at 2 and 5 minutes. And I hadn't gone to use the friction ever because I wanted the notes to be permanent. And when I looked on the website, the friction website, it says don't use this pen for anything that needs to be permanently available. Because you can't, you don't want somebody changing a legal document or a health record or a bank, a check. But everything else I've read about it seems to say that the ink will disappear, but that the ink is still there. And some places I said, although I couldn't really find any documentation, is that the ink is actually permanent. It is heat sensitive, so you can, make it go away and make it come back. But there's nothing in there that says that the document itself is limited in how long it's going to last. And maybe that's because the pens are new and they don't really know. But I'm assuming that while the ink can disappear and reappear, the ink itself is actually there. The ink is not coming off the page. It's just becoming transparent. And I'm going to just go with that because I don't, have any other... I'm going to assume that the ink is permanent, which is why I didn't want to use it in a planner, but it seems like it should be fine. This is nice because it looks equally good, very plain, and with some... Well, I'm doing the Project 365 and with artwork, because in the video that I did, sometime in January, I think, I had ticked off the days on a whole calendar, something like one of these calendars, and I ticked off every day, and at the end of the year, I thought, God, is that all I did? It's highlight days that I passed, and I wish I had had something more to show for it. So I decided to do Project 365, which for me is actually, I'm going to do it 365 times. I'm not doing it every single day. So I started using the brush pens to make flowers, and I know a lot of people think these are birds. They could easily be birds, but they're actually the brush strokes for an iris, just not quite in the right, laid out the same way. And then I started doing a little bit of actual pictures. And when we went to Delaware for, it's called Spring Dewey, it's a Greyhound event, I actually started doing pictures. This was Ventura taking up the whole bed, and this was Ventura seeing the Atlantic Ocean for the first time. It's a beach shot. Ventura won 2 contests when we were there, so I gave him his own loving cup. And I used it for memorabilia for the vacation. I taped things to it. I drew things that had to do with it. This isn't the way I plan all the time. This is a way to, remember the vacation. So that's working for me. You can also put in pictures. This was an Instagram picture of the New York City skyline from a hotel on Times Square. Oh yeah, this was my toaster just failed, so that's a toaster oven, but it looks more like a microwave to me. So I had to call the company and they're going to send me another one. And I guess I had nothing to do that day, so I did some drawing. But most days, the way I plan looks like this. You know, I had gone to the friction pen at this point, and I'm still using the highlighter that I really like. It's really easy to work with once you get used to the tip, and it's dry. It's not a wet highlighter. I like the layout. It's a dotted, I don't know if you're going to be able to tell. Probably not, because it reads as, you know, a grid, but it is a dotted grid, so I really need good light to be able to see the grid really well. You know, it's hard for me to say whether it bothers me, because actually it makes, you know, it makes it so much less obvious with the drawings. So that's kind of a toss-up for me, but yeah, you can see it. It's a dotted grid. So it's good for future appointments. I just either write it in or tape the business card to it. And my plan for these kind of pages, you know, I'm not going to put anniversaries in here. I'm probably not going to put favorites. And there's a place for addresses also. So while I normally use the address pages, I think I'm going to find another way to do that. And what I'm going to do for these kind of pages where there's space for text is I'm going to put street addresses of places that I go to fairly, well, not even often, but semi-regularly, so that I can, but not enough so that I remember how to get there. And I have a terrible sense of direction, so I'm going to put the addresses in here so that when I need them over the course of the year, I can feed them into my GPS. And I think I'm going to do it for at least this page and the favorites page, and probably the address pages too, because there's only space for 8 addresses. And I really have more than that, so I'm going to need another solution there. And my cover should be coming soon, hopefully before I totally wreck it. I have a back pocket and a front pocket. These are things that I got at Staples a long time ago, punched them to use in my Filofax, still had some left. The glue's good. I mean, it stays on, but it can come off. And if you use a template, or if you keep coupons, or need a pen or two, it's a good place for them. I like this. You know, whether or not this is going to be good for you depends on a whole lot of things, really. You know, whether you can adjust to the inserts because, you know, they're not movable, whether the Tomo River paper is something you're going to like, you know, whether or not you're willing to buy a cover because, you know, that pretty much doubles the price of the planner. But, you know, I'm still using it. I don't really have any plans to move, and I'm really enjoying it. I mean, for, you know, a lot of times if you wanted something for a long time, and I've wanted this for 2 years, when you finally get it, it's a bit of a bummer. I mean, it never fulfills the fantasy that you had. And you're kind of like, God, why was I obsessed about it all this time? But in this case, I've really been enjoying the space, enjoying the layout because it's similar, the page layout, not the order. I'm really happy with this, and I just wanted to do an update because I've had so many questions. If you have any that I haven't addressed, just comment and let me know. I'm more than willing to talk about this endlessly. I mean, it's pretty terrific. And I will update when I get the cover. So thanks, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video.